welcome everyone. Firstly, I would like to thank everyone for joining me on this webinar today. I do hope that you would find value within the content that we'll be presenting, even if it's for future projects or developments. I would like to encourage everyone to make notes or drop your comments on the comment section or any questions. We will have a Q&A session at the end, and then we'll be answering those questions for you. We will also be having a giveaway of two special prizes, or two special gifts in today's session. For this, we will have a lucky draw at the end of the day in our Q&A session, so please stick around until then. For those of you who don't know, my name is Ryno Colyn. I am the Director of User Experience at Mvix. The focus for today's webinar is really to introduce the innovation behind the interactive content service for Mvix. The newly launched Interactive Media Service Division specializes in bespoke digital signage content development. The IMS services include strategy, template design, animation, software development, and interactive analytics. Today, we will have a look at these services and identify where they can benefit you as an Mvix client. Before we start, I would like to give you a brief introduction of my experience within digital signage. Personally, I've been involved in digital signage since 2004, starting with my first retail network within the SPAR group in South Africa. In early 2006, I formed part of the team that initiated the first digital signage in-store channel for a leading South African retailer called Woolworths. I developed content for their in-store digital channels at point of sale, customer services, cellular content for their mobile counters, as well as corporate communications within their head office. One of the biggest challenges then was to introduce digital to a retailer that's been using traditional media since they started. In 2011, I ventured into digital menu boards within the QSR, or the quick service restaurant industry. I worked alongside the international agency Ogilvy on the KFC account and formed part of the creative and strategic team. Since then, I've been pretty much involved in DMB's other networks such as McDonald's SA, where I created the first weather-based content execution and screen takeovers on a system-on-chip system. In 2014, my accounts have varied from retail, pharmaceutical, banking, corporate networks. One of the biggest interactive strategic projects was MTN Cellular in South Africa. This network grew to over 400 stores with both a non-interactive as well as an interactive screen setup. My responsibilities included creating a digital content strategy for 7 different in-store channels for non-interactive as well as an interactive channel as well. With this, I would also be reporting on analytics on a monthly basis on the amount of engagement on touchscreens. In 2022, I joined the Mvix team. Mvix has provided me with a content-rich content management system that has a solid delivery and scalability to create sustainable content strategies for any size network. Today, we will be exploring those interactive solutions within the Mvix offering. On the agenda, we're going to have a quick look at what is involved with interactive innovations, the components that make up interactive innovations, the return on investment, and ultimately, we're going to look at a couple of examples. Digital signage interactive innovation provides value for both the client and the user, as well as the business or institution. For the client or the user, the interactive solution will assist in better client journey by serving location-based content on demand. This will allow the relevant content to reach the correct audience. From the business or the institution perspective, interactive solutions offer real-time data with your environment, within your environment, that gets generated by your clients or your users. This allows you to a better understanding of your content output. Let's have a look at the components that make up interactive solutions. Hardware includes touch screen monitors and media players to display the interactive content. Commercial grade equipment is vital to ensure uptime and a proper return on your investment. The CMS, within the CMS, you can create content templates, build playlists, schedule, and distribute content to designated locations. The hardware and the CMS component plays a key role in the next 3 areas, namely strategy, content, and analytics. From here on, we will dive into each one of these individually. Strategy is the process of identifying challenges and opportunities that could be successfully met with an interactive solution. This could be something as simple as directing students through a campus by wayfinding, or building client profiles per location through analytics. Through the Mvix strategy service, we can assist our clients in the process by identifying the most accurate interactive solution they need. We also develop innovative user experience with a customer user interface that enhances your environment. Let's have a look at how we apply strategy to UX and UI. This is an example of how we stick close to a corporate brand or to a brand alliance to actually create normal navigation for a touchscreen. It's obviously very important for us to adhere to the corporate branding or to the UI or the UX of the actual corporate identity. Taking that further, we also develop wireframes based on the current look and feel of that specific brand. In this case, you will see there's an interactive page or a non-active page. There's a landing page with categories, category buttons, and also the product pages, which is all adhering to the same look and feel, which is very important for the user experience. Having a look at that in Playout. Currently, you will see an inactive view. As somebody walks up to a screen and touches it, it will go to the actual landing page. Then you will have categories. Categories will go into specific ranges. The ranges will bring up the different models. And ultimately, you can have more information based on that model, specifications, or ultimately scan a QR code and finalize the deal. So with that, we also bring in analytics at the bottom. As you see, step by step, you will actually have feedback of analytics, and that's what we will be going through after this as well. As you can see, when the interactive screen is not being used, we revert back to inactive screen. This is where animation can play a big role in interactive solutions. Using animation for short calls to action can engage people and encourage them to interact with the touchscreen. 2D animation are relatively quick to do and requires only static artwork. The Mvix team specializes in bringing artwork to life, static artwork. Unlike traditional media, digital signage includes many different screen sizes and orientations. We do accommodate all of these in the animation process. It's also very important to understand the audience when creating content. Dwell time is specific to location, plays the key part in the length of your content layout. Storyboarding animations is a great method to make current content more engaging and relevant. Corporate or brand identity is vital in any campaign. We enforce an omni-channel approach to all content development to allow for a seamless look and feel. Now we will have a look at some of the examples for strategy and animated content. This is an example of a screen location layout for a specific store. If we design content for this specific environment, we would have a look at the audience in front of these specific screens. If you are coming from outside the store and you are faced with a screen that's in the window or facing outwards, we would have short call to actions and animated shorts for that specific channel, which will basically serve as a conversion screen and get people inside to that location. Once inside, there will be seated areas, there will be point of sale areas where there's a little bit more dwell time. That will have the content that's slightly longer, a little bit more informative, roughly or more connected to like a loyalty program or social responsibility messages. Throughout the rest of the store, you have business sections or contract customers, and that messages will be tailored to that specific locations as well. Looking at banking, there's a front screen with a touch-enabled glass. So at the moment, it's just playing short call to actions or short visuals. That screen can be interacted with. In the back, there's the normal video channel that has a little bit more information and a slightly longer loop for people sitting and waiting to get served as well. So two different strategies and on two different screens. This is an example of how we applied one specific advert across a whole retail environment. At the moment, you can see a video wall, which was in portrait. There's another portrait execution, all playing the same content. The content was just repurposed for each individual screen orientation. Over here, we have two more portraits on the pillars. Another portrait on that one. We also have a couple of video walls that's going to come up now, which is also very important. And the most important part of this as well is that the solution, the entire solution for this specific environment was built on SoC or system on chip technology, which we also assist. That's just one screen, and then we'll have a complete screen takeover over quite a few of those cubes. So quite a content process in this one. Okay, having a look at healthcare, this was a channel that was split into two segments, one being a media channel, which we sold content to the pharmaceutical brands, which is basically took up 80% of the entire loop, and the rest, the 20% that's left, will get used by the retailer itself for infotainment or general messages regarding the pharmaceutical services. Animation and QSR, we've created screen takeovers for specific product, specific sales for that specific month. You'll see that it takes over the entire estate of the screen every couple of minutes to really drive sales on specific items as needed. And this was also done for 4-screen, 3-screen, portrait and landscape executions. Moving over to software. Interactive software allows your client to interact with your products or services digitally. Serving location-based content through interactive screens will arm them with the correct information to make informed decisions. QR codes and landing pages are a great way to allow for users or clients to access a booking page or a download information to consume later. The biggest value we can get from interactive screens is to track and measure interaction. This process can convert your digital assets into data. Let's have a look at some of the examples. This was for the Adidas brand. It was an execution or a little activation in a shopping mall. The idea behind this was to get customer data, or more customer information, and then take. In this case, we would have people walking up to a screen. They would do a small little exercise in a specific amount of time. They would then log their details and the time that they made it. And then Adidas will use that time to actually market specific fitness level products to specific clients after that data gets received. In the QSR environment, this is a very basic example, but quite effective. It's called weather-based content. So you'll see as the day goes by and the weather starts changing, the content will then automatically change according to the weather outside without any interference from human. It's completely automated. This is an example of a waiting area at a restaurant. It's a little play table or an interactive table. So if you're waiting for your seat or waiting for a space in the restaurant, you can basically go through the entire menu. You can view monthly promotions. There's a weather link, a sports link, and a news link, and also a gaming section for when you need to wait for a table. Now, what's very important about this one is we had analytics behind this, and what we could tell is the average time somebody would wait for a table at that specific location, which was also quite important data to get in. Having a look at return of your investment, to get the most value from your content strategy is very important to understand the impact your content has to the end user. Analytics can assist in the process by telling us what content was viewed the most, in which locations, for how long, and at what time and date. Data can help in serving more relevant content that will value both the client and the brands alike. So we're going to move forward and look at how examples of that data we'll be looking. So this is an example of Black Friday campaign and year-on-year comparison between 2020 and 2021. In this graph, you can specifically see there was an uplift in sessions of 108%. There was an uplift of 78% of page views, and then the average session duration was up also by 188%. So just in a nutshell, the average session duration is the amount of time somebody would walk up to a screen and then engage with the screen. So it went up from 5 minutes to 17 minutes in this case. Further to that, we can also get specific days of the month where the most views was recorded. In this case, you can see the 26th, 25th, and 27th was the top three dates for interactions or page views. And then also we can see the actual allocated session duration. To the right of that, you'll see a little graph with little blue blocks. That indicates to us the busiest time or the most interactions per day and per time, or per day of the week and per time of the day, which is also quite nice because you can then know, how many people or when is your peak times in your specific area. Further to that, we can look at individual pages and individual stores. So this is quite location based, where you can actually look at what's being viewed or what in which of your locations. And this could be helpful in many ways. In retail, it could be helping you in stocking your store correctly, because you can get an idea of a profile of a customer and how those customers actually engage with your content or your offering, and then tailor your store or your environment based on that data that you can get back. Another example of this is also per store, and then we can also break it down to device. So let's say you have 2 or 3 different touch screens in your environment. You can also compare like for like to see where those touchscreens are being used, which ones are being used, and then also take that information back to find out if the actual screens are placed correctly, are they visible, are people actually engaging with it as well. All right, so we're going to have a quick look at some of our demo apps that we've built. We're going to focus on government for first. This is a live dockets app. So this is the inactive view at the moment. As you click on it, you'll have a live link that will basically bring the dockets up. It's currently there. You can search for it. You can actually click and view your specific docket or the docket that you would like for. And then also you can find out exactly where that and which courtroom that docket is being taken care of, and then get directions to the specific page for you or the specific floor and courtroom that you need to be in. So it's a basically two-phase approach: court docket live, and then also a building map with some directional signage as well. Moving over to banking. This is a banking app that basically has two workflows, one being a queuing exercise where a customer can select what services they're interested in, if they're a new or existing client, to get a ticket to then basically get served, or they can go to products and services, to each individual page, have more information based on their criteria of search. They can have a branch view to see where the closest branches is to this. And then also they can delve more into actual products or services. There's a mortgage calculator, and this could be basically any calculator or customized to any specific needs. And then they also have an option to book a session with a consultant on the contact page as well. And this page that you're looking at now could either be on the touchscreen, or it could be a QR code that directly links your cell phone or your mobile phone to this page, and they can make the booking or at their convenience. Looking at education, this is a campus app, and this campus app is linked to analytics. So you will see the analytics happening on the right-hand side as I'm clicking through this touchscreen. So at the moment, it wasn't the inactive page. We're now going to the campus map. And as you see, as you go through these different pages, those little pages will light up on the analytics side as well. The good thing behind this is you always put content on a screen, or you build something, but you never get to measure it. So this is kind of a really good way to understand what people are looking at in your touch screens and really understand the content delivery. And with this, you also have the chance of either bettering your content delivery, or if it's working, at least you know it's working. That's also a QR code you see over there that somebody can scan and get to a booking page to book a meeting with a specific person on campus. QR code. And also the QR code, if you scan that, you will download the actual map to your phone. And then lastly, we have an events page that will list the latest events coming up on campus as well. Just to recap on the data that we got from that. So this is over the last couple of months, or last couple of months, weeks. We've had 10 users, we've had 36 different sessions, number of sessions per user. Page views was 764 pages being viewed. Average page per session is 21. Average session duration was 34 minutes, and then a bounce rate of 27. To the left or to the right of this, at the bottom, you'll see there's a list of pages that's been viewed the most. So if you want to rate them or change the content based on that, you're more than welcome. You can see that the campus events was viewed the least. So maybe you can add more content to that channel to actually make it a little bit more engaging as well. Just to close, so from the Mvix IMS team, we create a sustainable and measurable content strategy. We develop and manage content that meets KPIs. We measure content, we gauge and we understand relevancy. And then ultimately we use analytics to adjust content strategies. So it's kind of like a full circle, and the analytics part to this is very important for us to better the content strategy overall. Okay, we will be going over to the Q&A session now. I just want to quickly get to the page. All right, just give me a second. Okay, while we wait for that, I can probably go ahead and announce our two winners. We've got Eric Anderson and Anne Brzezowski, that both of you guys have won a surprise package. So we'll be in contact with you after this to get your details, and then we'll sort you guys out. Thank you very much for that. Just give me a couple of seconds to get some questions in. Okay, so we've got a question. What is the process of deploying touchscreen kiosks? So pretty much back to the strategy of understanding the challenge that is in your environment. If it's a serving more information, or location-based information, or if it's a specific booking system that you want to incorporate, then based on that, we will build a content strategy. Based on the content strategy, we'll action accordingly the content animation or the content software development. And really, it's basically marrying the hardware and the software, and then adding the analytics to the back of that to actually measure the content output on those screens as well. I hope that answers the question. Another one, how long until I see measurable analytics from my audience? So the analytics kicks in immediately as soon as the touchscreen software goes live. So you will have live data from day one, and most of the time we report back on a quarterly basis, and then you'll get a proper report based on interactions for that specific quarter. Another question, who can design the content for my touchscreens? So the touchscreen content that we built is primarily built in HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. We have a team that actually does that, but you are more than welcome to create your own touchscreen content if that is what the question was about. Let's just see if we've got another one coming in. Okay, here's a very interesting one. Good question. Do I use the Mvix CMS to create content? The Mvix CMS does have a touch application incorporated into it. So yes, you can. The CMS version, it goes to 2 levels deep, and it's quite a helpful little tool and quite a helpful little app. So yes, you can create touchscreen executions within the CMS. How we do it, and the apps that I've just showed you guys now, is we will create them as an HTML zip package, and you will upload them into the CMS, and the CMS will basically serve them to the screens. Very good question. No, this is not only for retail markets. We can add this to any corporate building, for wayfinding specifically, for booking meetings. This is quite a good execution for education sectors as well, for cafeterias, for viewing meal options. So no, this is definitely only for retail. This could be tailor-made for any industry. Very good question. So somebody wants to know, how can we use the analytics? So that pretty much depends on the industry you're in. From my side, what I've experienced previously is the analytics will allow you, and it will give you a broader insight into what people are actually viewing. So let's take retail, for instance. If you have a shop and you're selling specific products, and you're stocking a certain specific product, and you get through your analytics that no one's actually viewing that on screens, but they're rather more interested in a different range or a different category, you can then basically change the way that you order or change the way that you profile that specific store for a specific market as well. That could be used across any sector or any industry as well. Data can provide you insights into many different user cases. You can do A and B testing per location to find out if certain stores or certain people view certain products at certain times of day. So yeah, there's quite a lot that you can get from the data. It doesn't matter what industry you are in. Very good question. How long would this take to deploy? The actual hardware is not a timeless or timeless exercise. The most time that we normally spend is in the interaction or the UX and UI design. You're looking at about anything from 4 to 8 weeks to deploy a proper digital signage interactive solution. Okay, looks like we have gone through all the questions. Please, if you guys have any more questions, you can email me on rcolyn@mvix.co.za. I will be happy to answer anything. If you don't have any questions at the moment, I'll be happy to get to those after this meeting as well. So we're going to be closing. Thank you everyone for joining this webinar. I really appreciate your time, and hopefully we'll see you at the next one. Thank you so much.